Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex coming back into the brand new video, and as always, down top, a little bit of the top we're talking about today. So, Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 40. So, this episode just opened up a huge cannon or bag of worms, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, how did Eren obtain Titan power per se, in a way? Like, how did he get the coordinator? If you consume someone, not only do you become a shifter per se, but you also get their powers. And if you don't consume someone, then you stay a Titan. So, one, we all got to look at Eren's father once again. I just want to come out and say that, skip the introduction part of this video, because this is important. I want to, get my thoughts across here. So, it all comes back to Eren's father, and that thing he was injected with obviously had to be the shifting juice, per se, or whatever you want to call it. And that I don't know if that's something that's passed down. I don't know if that's something that was newly created by Eren's father, because obviously it seems as if Eren's father is some kind of scientist, per se, or something of the sort, per se. That's really what I should say. But at the same time, how did he get the power of the coordinator then? The coordinator is something that's been around. Obviously, Reiner knows about it. And how did he get that? Obviously something that's been passed down, because once you consume somebody, you get that said power. So how did Eren get the coordinator power? Unless that's something that's newer. Unless that's something that was created by mankind and it got in Eren's dad's hands, which was he the creator of that said power? I don't know, but I'm going to leave that to you guys to think about. No spoilers down in the comments below. I won't tolerate that stuff. I can ban you from the channel just as easy as you can top a comment. But, I just want to throw that out there, because I don't know personally, but those are the only, logical, explanations, it seems like. Of course, if there's something that's just going over my head, or I'm missing something that I don't, have the information to yet, but other than that, though, I really just wanted to get that out there and see what your guys' opinions are. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? So next, let's talk about Historia. We'll get to Hange in a second. So, whenever I look at Historia's character from now on, I'm really just literally going to say, wow, you've had a rough path. You've had a rough past, not path. Well, both, kind of. But, you've had a rough. Having her mother say the first thing to her was, a shove, and if only I could kill her, and the last thing saying, if I didn't have you, or whatever, that's something that's just, there's so much weight to that, and that's just nuts. That's insane, man. Because I look at that, and it's just like, she smiled. She smiled, and I talk about the psychological aspect of the show, and once again, that makes sense. Someone who's neglected their whole life and never has that, that normal and or common compassion a parent would show their child. Of course, you actually said something to me. You actually physically touched me. You've never wanted anything to do with me before, and I understand why Historia was smiling there, even though she had a bloody nose and stuff. That's crazy, and that's messed up to think about. But nonetheless, I do get it. It makes sense, from a psychological standpoint. So that's nuts, and it's crazy to think about it. It's just like, when you're young, you thought that was cool. But then you thought that was awesome. Mom loves me. She pushed me and actually said something to me, even though it was a terrible thing. But now, think about how Historia acting now. And it adds up, because later on in life, you're going to understand how wrong and, how right that wasn't. And that makes sense why Historia is who she is now. That's all I really got to say about that. But with that being said, let's hop on to Hange here. The guy that they were trying to get the information out, both of them. Hange played him like a fiddle, having him, they scripted that, and he had to say that. And he said that, and he fell for it. He fell for it because he thought he was going to die, and he thought that could get him, get him out of that. And it's kind of like reverse psychology in a way. It's kind of like, well, let's threaten you, but not ask you for information. But they played him to where that guy, of course, would spew the words they wanted to hear out, out of his mouth. And when I look at that, the guy, even though he got played like a fiddle, and he's like, I betrayed the king. At the end, he starts crying again. And it's just like, it's kind of like, yes, he looks at what he's done with the torturing and multiple people and how he's had to play in that role. And he's just, it's as if, not only does he feel bad for himself and how he hates his life, and of course, if he could probably go back to the beginning, he probably wouldn't do what he's done. He'd probably take a different path, if we had to guess, obviously, by the way he's acting. But obviously right now he chose that path, so he has to be loyal, and that's why he's upset they betrayed the king. But then I think he's partially crying for Hange, and he's just basically saying, hey, you've chosen a path, and that path you chose is a cycle. It's gonna happen again and again, and then someone else is going to take that crown. So that very well could have been foreshadowing Hange may be meeting, a torturous death per se in the future, and or yeah. I mean, that's about it. That's what it's saying. And he's like, I actually have it written down here, quoted, I believe. He said he said good luck, Hange. So when I look at that, to me personally, it's just like, hey, you've chosen a path. You're gonna go down it. It's a cycle. So every so often, after many years or however many years, someone will take that throne that you sit upon, and or someone will take what you have. It'll take your role from you, and then you'll be sitting. The person that takes your role, that person will be the person that's doing, putting that role upon you per se, and or inflicting what comes with that role upon you. It's the best way to put it. Actually, a way better way to put it. So that's huge foreshadowing in my personal opinion. Opinion that maybe Hange will, get that same treatment later on down the road, but I'm not really sure. But on top of that, though, to find out that the teacher was Erwin's dad, I was kind of wondering. He kind of looked like Erwin in a way. The theory of brainwashing. How did they brainwash him, though? Did they do it? I'm sure they did it in some kind of community manner. I'm not really sure. I want to know more about the theory. That's what I said when I said brainwash. I was like, how did they brainwash him? Like, they got some machine, or like, what the hell? Like, how did they brainwash these thousands of people? Humanity as a whole. How did they brainwash them? I'm interested. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm not really sure. I want to know more about this theory. I'm interested in it. But what do you guys think about that? And I mean, as for the video, I believe that's everything that we had to, look at the list. It's everything that we really had to talk about. But what do you guys think about this episode of Attack on Titan? It's getting interesting. It's staying savage. And next episode and the episode after that, these next two episodes, I feel like are going to be bangers, bro. So as always, guys, you guys have been hexed. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, X25. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching, guys.